Hello and hey, why is my screen small? Hello everybody and happy Thursday. I'm muted, just kidding. Okay. So, hey, happy Thursday. It's Thursday, right? How's everyone doing? What's going on? I actually really want to watch the Joe Rogan Dave Smith thing. Are you referring to me being so talented? I'll pretend. I'll say that you are. Thank you very much. And yes, free Mahmoud Khalil. They're so embarrassing. They're so embarrassing. I saw this creep last night on Dr. Phil, and he was like, "Oh, hey Johan, how's it going? Thank you for writing from Twitch." He's like, this creep last night was on Dr. Phil. He's like, "I'm on the renowned Dr. Phil." I'm like, bro, Dr. Phil is not renowned. Like, how embarrassing. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Not renowned. That's just embarrassing. Like, ow. I don't know why it's not letting my screen be big. What's going on with this? Oh, there we go. um um, hello. Ow, 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 ow. Honestly, I think I just have to give up on my ring light. Like, I think it's just gone. I don't know what you're doing, Melvin, but I think it's just gone. I have not been able to find it. So, yes, thank you. Thank you, Johan. Yes, we're move to Twitch, folks. YouTube is still pissing me off. It's still playing all kind of games. Although shout out to everybody who just got me to 22,000 followers or subs on YouTube, which took forever because ever since basically my channel was growing pretty fast, and then ever since I got demonetized by YouTube, it's been incredibly slow. Like, it absolutely, when they demonetize you, affects your views, affects your like growth, it affects everything. So yeah, ever since they demonetized me, it's been super slow. So I was growing, my channel was growing really fast before, and then when they demonetized me, it has only grown like 600 over the last 3 months. 600 over the last 3 months. That's crazy. That's like 200 a month. That's crazy. So yeah, but I am still very grateful that we just hit 22,000. So very grateful that we just hit 22,000. Thanks, fam. Keep subscribing to it because I do plan on getting it back. And definitely follow me on Twitch if you are not already. I don't like that on Twitch it switches my camera. Like, it flips it. I don't like that. When I'm recording, it flips my, like, what is this horse shit? Anyway, if you're not following me on Twitch already, definitely do. All right. Oh, also follow me on Rumble. We're going in the second hour, folks. The second hour is going to be also on Rumble. I think I'm going to start hey Theater, how's it going? Your China TikTok made a lot of sense. Which one? I made a couple about China. I made one yesterday about the market and the tariff war, and then I also made one about how they're just really far advanced from us and how they have flying cars. So I'm not really sure which one you're referring to, but either way, they're kicking our ass, you know? Sorry, I'm letting my dog out. Okay. Do you think we would be able to get away with, hey guys, I'm having my coffee. Oh, good. I'm about to make some. I'm about to make some more. I'm about to make some espresso. Okay, but I really don't like this. I don't like how when I'm on Twitch, like when I go to Twitch, it flips my camera. I don't like that. I like to be able to control how my camera sits. I want to be able to control how my camera sits. I want to be able to control whether or not my camera is mirrored, bro. I don't want it mirrored. What are you doing, Twitch? I don't know why it automatically does that. I saw this and it was honestly, it like almost made me cry watching. Somebody posted a video. Maybe I can find it on here. And it literally like broke my heart. It was a video somebody posted of him being interrogated. It's literally child abuse. Like it's child abuse. It's so sad. Let me see if I can find it. Ahmed.
خليني انزل حكيت معاه جبت التليفون خليني انزل الكمامه بس صورة عليك بدون كمامه تعبان والله لا نعمة تليفون معكم خش السلام عليكم.
Bro, it's so sad. I'm trying to find the video of him as a kid getting interrogated. It's so sick. They held this guy for 20 years. 20 years they held him. So he's only 33 because they kidnapped him when he was 13. I want people to understand who may not understand because I used to not understand. Okay, so we're all sharing information here as we go, as we learn it. For those of us who didn't know, that this is the terrorists that they're constantly holding in their prisons. This is the terrorists that they're always holding. He was in prison for 10. Oh, I thought I saw a video where they said that he was taken in 2005. I thought I saw a video where they said he was taken in 2005. Honestly, I might have been thinking about somebody else because they kidnapped so many people. But thank you for correcting that. I didn't know. Okay, other people were saying 10 years. Okay, sorry about that. I'm correcting myself. I don't want to be spreading misinformation. Honestly, I probably was thinking of somebody else that I saw in 2005 because they kidnapped so many people. You know what I mean? And they hold them in administrative detention. So this is what they really mean. This is what it really means when you're in the Israeli regime and they go, oh, we're actually holding people because we've arrested all these terrorists. This is what they actually mean. They just kidnap children, okay? This is so heartbreaking. This is what I was talking about. This is absolutely psychotic. This is actually child abuse. This is child abuse. Yeah, it was hard for me to watch too. So somebody said I can't watch this. It was hard for me to watch too, honestly. It was really hard to watch, but I felt like it was important to watch because this is normal. This is what they do to children. That's only a part of it. That's only a part of it. It's, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's horrific. And that, honestly, that was only a part of it. That's so sad.
ناخذ دواء يابا ولا بالطريق؟ يابا كيف تحس حالك مع الدواء؟
What did he say?
ناخذ دواء يابا ولا بالطريق؟ يابا كيف تحس حالك مع الدواء؟
بدك تروح؟ بدك تروح؟
ان شاء الله ما قلت له بجو
لشو أكثر إشي مشتاق يا أحمد؟
قلت له لا
العصر كيف تعاونك بشكلهم؟
عندك أمل تطلع أحمد؟
ان شاء الله الله كريم
قديش إلك بالعزل؟
Oh, awful. I can't handle this, you guys. This is torture. I can't handle this. This is so horrible. This is so horrible. It's like torture. They're so mean. They're so awful. And it's so upsetting because they do this regularly. Like, this isn't just like, oh, this is a really sad story that, you know, this guy fell through the cracks. Like, This isn't like oh, what a sad story. This happened to this one guy. This is regular order of business, folks. This is a regular order of business. They regularly treat Palestinians this way, and it's fucking sick. Like, I am so tired of acting and propping up this like terrorist regime with our tax dollars and our money as they treat human beings like this. This is disgusting. Yeah, we can't control when people are like, what about China? What about Russia? We don't control what happens in China and Russia, okay? We don't control what happens there. You know what we do have a say over, have some leverage over if we wanted? The Israeli regime, because of the amount of money that we spend and the fact that they wouldn't exist if it weren't for the American military and the American taxpayer. So, like, how the fuck are we tolerating this? Is this acceptable? Now, I think, like, obviously, I think that most people still don't know that this is regular order of business. You know, there's still the ridiculous lie. What? I think we're still, you know, living with this ridiculous lie that they claim that that the Israeli regime is a so-called democracy, right? So we're still having to endure this lie, this propaganda that like, they're a democracy. They're a democracy. They have a rule of law. They have a judicial system. They have this, they have that. They don't have any of that, folks. This is what I can't stand, like, that, and that a lot of people still don't even know, you know? A lot of people still don't even know, like, I mean, more and more people do know, more and more people are waking up, which is great. More and more people do know, more and more people are waking up, which is great. But it's still upsetting to think about the fact that our tax dollars and our government supports this shit as they lie and say that they're a democracy. And as people still, as way too many people still believe they're a democracy. Way too many people still think that they have a rule of law and a fair judicial system. This is insane. Like, that was so fucking heartbreaking. And again, it's not the exception, it's the rule. That's how they treat Palestinians there.
This is how Israeli officers interrogated a 13-year-old Palestinian child. This is Ahmed Manasra, the Palestinian child whose life turned upside down in one day. In just one day, Israel was able to turn Ahmed's simple dreams of playing football with his friends into dreaming of talking to someone, anyone. On October 12, 2015, Ahmed and his cousin Hassan, who was murdered on that day, were subjected to brutal abuse by Israeli occupation forces and settlers. As a result of his arrest, interrogation, and physical and psychological
Okay, whoever made this TikTok, I wish they would have turned the music down because I can barely hear the audio, bro. Music down, voice of the person narrating up, please.
torture, even while receiving
What was their claim?
Innocent child with eyes as wide as the open sky. Don't let them steal your shine, for they know now what they. Innocent child.
Like, this is crazy that they can just arrest a kid like that. What was the claim though of why they arrested him? Yeah, I agree with this, Dan. I don't even think they need the music. Like, the story is incredibly powerful. Ham! That's true. A lot of times they don't even need a claim, but I'm sure that they came up with some lie. Who is this? I think they're talking about somebody else here. A doctor tells the story.
Ahmed Manasra was 13 years old when he was brutally interrogated after being literally hit by a car and having literal blood come out of his head while laying on the floor, being yelled at, abused, people calling for his death, and then interrogated days later after having skull fractures and internal bleeding, where in the interrogation he cried out numerous times, "I don't understand, I don't understand." He was 13 years old. He was interrogated for a crime that he had nothing to do with. He wasn't allowed any trial, no defense, couldn't see his family. He was 13 years old.
Yeah, what happened to the we have fair trials here in defense? Why are you just arresting kids like it ain't no thing and not allowing them to have a trial and not allowing them to have their parents, not allowing them to have defense? Like, what's even the claim?
That interrogation video has never left my mind. I think about it regularly. It is traumatizing watching it. I can't imagine what it was like experiencing it. I have to keep repeating that he was 13 years old. We know that there was never going to be justice for him. They were going to imprison him anyway, and they did. He was tried as an adult at the age of 13 and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. 12 years.
Also, why was he sentenced to 12 years in prison? Where, again, okay, so they tried him as an adult in some kangaroo court. Where's his lawyer? He didn't have a lawyer? Where's his parents? There aren't laws against how you can interrogate people there? Like, what the fuck?
For a crime he did not commit. After sustaining basically lethal injuries, he survived these very lethal injuries. Throughout his detention in Israeli prison, this child endured psychological and physical torture to the point where he has developed numerous physical and mental illnesses. That is why healthcare professionals call for his release, because he is not being treated adequately. He should have never been there in the first place. At this point, I don't care what the consequences are of talking about this publicly on my platform, because it makes no sense for someone to be punished for sharing the stories of these brutalized and terrorized and absolutely dehumanized groups of individuals, including Palestinians. I can't believe that we fear the consequences of doing that. It's just unbelievable. Free Ahmed Manasra, period.
Who is this deranged person? I'm not defending the treatment Ahmed Manasra got because the treatment was too soft. He's a vile monster that should have suffered way more every day like he deserved. Murderous Palestinian savages. Savages, they're so fucking racist. Like Manasra. Okay, but again, what's the fucking claim? What's the fucking claim?
You're a professional.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I was just curious what it was. I'm sure they came up with some fucking lie. I know that they don't need to, like they oftentimes won't, but they keep saying all these horrible things about him. So I'm like, are you even claiming he did something? Ugh, this is so evil. It's so evil. So are people saying he was released today? It's so awful. Why are they they're actually like evil. Like they always do evil shit just to like rub it in. It says Ahmed Manasra has finally been released after 10 years in an Israeli prison, Jerusalem Prisoners Families Committee. The occupation deliberately released him away from the prison while his family waited at the prison gates to welcome him. Like, ugh. This is like, they're actually sick. You know what I mean? Like, they're sick. Why would you do that? They're like gratuitously cruel. Why would you do that? It's over, bitch. He's being released. You know what I mean? Like, it's done. It's over. He's being released. But you have to go out of your way to be gratuitously cruel after his family has not seen him in 10 years. His family has not seen him in 10 years. And after not seeing him for 10 years, they show up at the prison so that they can welcome him, and you won't even release him outside the prison so his mom can see him, so his family can see him. You're fucking sick. You're sick. This is so fucking sick. I just can't. I actually like can't. This is so depressing. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine how they probably tortured this guy when he was just a kid. First of all, why is this psycho screaming at him like that? Like absolute psycho. You can clearly see you can clearly see that he's incredibly distressed. He's just a kid and he's incredibly distressed and he had just been hit by a fucking car and this lunatic is screeching at him like a fucking animal. Nazis. So it says crazy thing is that even Israel later acknowledged that Ahmed Manasra took no part in the attack and dropped the terrorism charges against him 3 years ago. They forced him to complete his unjust 9.5-year sentence anyway. Palestinian who took part in Jerusalem stabbing rampage free from prison. And then, of course, the garbage Washington Post. Israel releases Palestinian who took part in attack age 13 and developed a mental illness in prison. Okay, so basically they're just lying. They're just lying. Okay, so supposedly he took place in an attack. Okay, sure, Jan. Sure. Wow. Absolutely grotesque and disgusting. This is like so heartbreaking. You know that they beat him, they tortured him. I'm sure they sexually assaulted him regularly because they're all creeps and pedophiles. I can't handle this. It's like so fucking depressing. It reminds me of but like way more normalized and regular. It reminded me, hold on, I want to read this, but before I get to it, it reminded me of the Khalil Browder case. This is reminding me of the Khalil Browder case, which happened here in the US, because our prison system is also disgusting. And when I watched that documentary, oh my gosh, I could not stop crying. I could not stop. That was the most, like, if you haven't seen the Khalil Browder story, that documentary, that is a hard watch. I cried so much in that documentary. That was so sad. It was so sad. And he was super young too. I think he was only 15. He got held for 3 years at Rikers Island. And one of the most, like, not to ruin it for anybody. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to plug your ears or whatever, because there's a spoiler alert coming. But like, one of the most horrible things about that documentary that was so fucking depressing is that his mother never got to see justice. She never got to see justice. She ended up dying of a disease and never got to see justice for her son. And I think that the family ended up suing, and they did end up winning, but oh, it was so fucking sad. It was so sad. Yeah, sure, go ahead. I know I need to make some more coffee. I'm like kind of hungry though. I should make my smoothie. He was not charged with anything. Yeah, and yet our trash bag press is still like Palestinian who got charged in an attack released. Excuse me. Like, so he wasn't. So you're just lying. I mean, our press is such a joke in the West. Our press is such a joke. Yeah, so I am non-binary, so I use they, them pronouns, and I don't mind being addressed as dude, and I don't actually mind if somebody says, hey, girl, like as a joke, but I genuinely don't like when people use girl, like for real. Like, you know what I mean? If somebody's like, hey, girl, like joking, I'm like, okay, that's funny. But when people are like, girl, this and this and this, girl, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, and hold on. Do I even have how long do you think it's okay to eat an egg after its expiration date? You think it's okay? No, don't say that, because honestly, it's a waste. And some people say that it's actually fine. Never mind. If you're not going to tell me it's okay, don't answer. Okay, so that was incredibly depressing, and I'm glad that he's free. I hope that he gets the treatment that he needs. I wish he could leave, like, and just I hope he gets to see his parents. And okay, so you can, if you can eat it 7 to 10 days after the expiration, right? That's what I think. Oh, did you guys know, as we're talking about this Palestinian prisoner that just got released, today is the Rachel Corrie's birthday, and Rachel Corrie was killed by the occupation back in 2003. Yes, it was. It was. I cried a lot in that documentary. It was so depressing. It was so depressing. And he never got justice. Like, technically you could say he did, because he did eventually get out of prison. I'm pretty sure, obviously everything was dropped, and I'm pretty sure he sued, his family sued, and they won. But not really. It's not really justice, because number one, his mother ended up dying, so she never got to see it. And he committed suicide because he had to live with all of those repercussions and demons and trauma from being terrorized and tortured in Rikers Island. So there really was never, like, the monetary penalty or whatever is like not going to do anything when he ended up dying by suicide. You know what I mean? Like, it was so hard. It was so depressing. Oh my gosh. Like, trigger warning if you guys haven't seen that film. I think it's good. It's important. It's good to watch it, but man, it was really hard to watch. But in the Israeli regime, this is regular everyday business. Like this is like what they did to Ahmed is what they do every single day to Palestinians. Every single day, all day, every day. This is regular business there. Like, especially since they don't even have a real court system. You know what I mean? Like, they really do take kangaroo court to the next level. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke. Okay, so get this. All right, so now we're looking at this. After a deportation judge ordered the U.S. government to turn over all evidence against Mahmoud Khalil, the State Department explicitly admitted that his actions in the U.S. are legal, but nonetheless want to deport him because his views on Israel reflect anti-Semitism and thus are in danger. This is a fucking joke. This is a joke. Oh my gosh. Because they undermine core American interests. For fucking who, bitch? For who? It's not my fucking interest. For who? Why, again, why are they an American interest to us? I have yet to get somebody to explain this to me. Whenever I say, why are we still allied with them? How are they of interest to us? Core American interest. How? Why? Oh, because they're in the Middle East and like, we need friends in the Middle East and they're our ally in the Middle East. We have other allies, bro. Saudi Arabia is our ally. Jordan's our ally. Qatar is our ally. Egypt is our ally. We have other allies, bro, that aren't making the entire world despise us. That's number one. Number two, oh, it's because of the oil. It's because of the oil. No, we don't need their fucking oil. What do you mean? What do you mean? First of all, America is now a net exporter of oil. Did you know that? We are a net exporter of oil. We have more than enough oil ourselves. Second of all, even if I were to grant someone that argument and say, it's because of the oil, we need their oil. You know how much oil Saudi Arabia has, bro? We've been allied with Saudi Arabia for a long time. We could get oil from them. Like, what are we talking about? Someone give me an actual reason that makes fucking sense as to why we're allied with these genocidal lunatics. Aside from the fact that obviously our government is really evil. Our government's really evil too. But I want a concrete reason. What are these quote unquote interests? Like why? I mean, this is amazing. So basically we're admitting that he didn't do anything wrong, but we want to deport him anyway because something core American interest. Let's do shit on behalf of the Israeli regime. Whew. Oh my gosh, somebody wrote, unpopular view, but should the Western democracies allow the Trojan horse full entry? Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. How embarrassing. Oh my gosh. When is this loser not harassing Muslims? Jihadist Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, like such a loser. She's such a loser. When are you not harassing Muslims? Okay, what I wanted to, did you guys see the embarrassing lawyer that was like supposed, like people were acting like he was owning it, like he was killing it, but he wasn't. Let's see. I think I retweeted it. my gosh, this woman is such a psycho. It's actually like kind of funny if it wasn't also like horrifying. I thought I retweeted it, but I guess I did not. Oh, this is a good clip.
How can the world help the Palestinian people flourish?
There could be a solution to the Israel-Palestine question, but it's going to have to involve Israel taking their boot off of the Palestinians' neck. It's just indefensible that the status quo of the Palestinian people having no rights, literally no rights, being ruled by a government that they do not get to vote for or against, no right to do commerce with the outside world, no freedom of travel, no freedom of movement, no basic property rights, you can be kicked out of your home at any time, no right to a fair trial, no right to a lawyer, no right to a jury of your peers. I mean, the fact that that has been the status quo since 1967 is just indefensible. And if and then in the context that that has been the status quo, I guess I'm just not, even though I'm against it, it's kind of like when you're just lecturing about the way in which they resist this, I think it's very tough to be on a strong moral footing, you know?
How can the world help the Palestinian people flourish?
Yeah, that was a great thing, especially to think that that was a great like clip, especially since a lot of people don't know that they have zero rights, less than zero fucking rights for anything. They have absolutely no rights. They're literally prisoners. Okay, are any of you guys familiar? Any of you remember any of the losers from the quote unquote intellectual dark web? Remember that? Remember that intellectual dark web? Lol. Okay, so when that first happened and people were making fun of that because it was cringe as fuck and stupid, nobody was like, oh, they're actually all a bunch of psychotic Zionists because, oh shit, do I still have an avocado? I didn't realize that I still had an avocado in there. Nobody was like, I feel like nobody at the time was talking about the fact that they were all psycho-Zionists. They were the intellectual dark web that was willing to talk about the things other people weren't willing to talk about. They were willing to take on the establishment in the ways that other people weren't willing to. But not really. Because all of them are fucking Zionists. Like when I was actually looking through it, I was like, all of you losers are fucking Zionists. Please. I don't know where it went. I was going to copy this. Hold on. But I don't know where it went. But there was a video of an embarrassing lawyer who was on Dr. Phil and was bragging about supposedly winning this argument about Mahmoud Khalil, even though it made no fucking sense. Wait,
17 went to an office. Attorney Brooke Goldstein, founder of the Lawfare Project, who is an advocate for Jewish civil rights. Brooke, thank you for
Jewish civil rights, Lamau. Where was it? This is it. LOL. His brilliant breakdown of the legal case of Mahmoud Khalil. I just wanted to comment on this guy's thing. Lol. What a joke! These people are a joke. What do you want, Shaken? This is a joke. Okay, where's the press for evidence against Mahmoud Khalil? The government cites its power to deport people for beliefs. This is so insane. What happened to free speech? What happened to free speech? Facing a deadline for an immigration judge to turn over evidence for its attempted deportation of Columbia University activist Mahmoud Khalil, the federal government has instead submitted a brief memo signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, citing that the Trump administration has authority to expel non-citizens whose presence in the country damages U.S. foreign policy interests. The two-page memo, which was obtained by the Associated Press, does not allege any criminal conduct by Khalil, a legal permanent resident of the U.S. and a graduate who served as a spokesperson for the campus activists last year during the demonstrations against Israel's treatment of Palestinians and the war in Gaza. You mean the genocide in Gaza. Rather, Rubio wrote that Khalil could be expelled for his beliefs. Again, what happened to free speech? He said that while Khalil's activities were otherwise lawful, letting him remain in the country would undermine U.S. policy to combat anti-Semitism. Oh my gosh. Guys, imagine if I want you guys to imagine them saying this about somebody black. Okay? Imagine them saying about this about somebody black. Okay? When has that happened? When has that happened? Where is the special treatment for black people? What about trans people? So we can deport you if you're, because you know what? I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of white people that might get their green cards revoked if they're asked about their views on black people or trans people or otherwise queer people or disabled. I mean, if we're just making shit up and we're going to start deporting people, if this is going to be the new standard, we're going to be deporting people because they're spreading anti-Semitism. Where's the special privileges in the DEI for black and trans people? Where is it for? Okay, so can you get deported for do you get deported for Islamophobia? Because there's going to be a lot of deportations happening if you can get deported for Islamophobia. Okay? Like, this is insane, you guys. This is insane. Hate speech. First of all, he's not anti-Semitic. Okay, they just made that up like they always do. But even if he was, hate speech is protected by the First Amendment. So now all of a sudden, the administration that hates wokeness, we hate wokeness, we hate DEI. So all of a sudden, the administration that's anti-woke and anti-DEI wants to deport someone because they believe, they have no evidence for the claim that he's anti-Semitic, but because they believe that he's anti-Semitic. So you're saying that without evidence he's anti-Semitic, but even if he was, that now all woke in DEI, you want to deport people for their views and beliefs. This is fucking ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Where are the free speech warriors? Nowhere to be found, of course. I saw this loser who's like a right-wing, Twitter personality say on Alex Jones, one of Alex Jones' loser clips, we've got to defend free speech with everything we have. I'm like, you don't defend it at all, you fucking clown. I need to find that tweet. You don't defend it at all. Absolute fucking clown shoes. Hold on. I need to find this tweet of this clown because he needs to be made fun of. And it doesn't happen nearly enough. Nearly enough. Especially since leftist accounts on Twitter are always shadowed. Like, always shadowed. Here it is. And then we'll get back to the article.
Fact. I think I know. Because I see people
So he's talking about free speech here, and you're about to see Alex Jones claimed that he's very concerned about free speech, okay? Even though he does endless simping and bootlicking for the Israeli regime, okay? So keep that in mind. I am honestly convinced that Alex Jones is either a Mossad agent or just like a CIA agent, you know, regardless of who he's working for, whether it's the US or the Israeli regime. He is definitely an op. Most certainly an op. That's why he never criticizes Israel.
People on I see people on social media who I know for a fact, or I think I know, are being funded by the very people they're attacking. It's like, what? Including one of the biggest voices. Like, I know that that's true. And so, like, what is this? And it's clearly preparatory to some sort of event that will shut down, a violent event that will be used as a pretext to shut down free speech. But they need to end speech in the United States. They need to shut down X. They have to. My guess is, and I hope I'm wrong, that there is like legitimate hate and extremism on social media, you know, to the point where it makes me uncomfortable. I'm thinking that maybe a lot of that is manufactured, actually, that if there is a mass shooting, and God forbid, but if there is a mass shooting of the people who've been targeted for actual hate, that's true, on social media, that will be used as a pretext to shut it down. Has this occurred to you?
Yes.
Okay. So so he says that as all the assaults over speech have to do with protecting the Israeli regime. No one else's speech is having gone after. None. It's only people criticizing Israel that have had their speech rights attacked. Okay? So this clown, Gunther Eagleman, which is clearly a fake name. Like, nobody's name is Gunther fucking Eagleman. This is a joke. David J. Freeman, that must be his real name. Oh, that must be his real name. He probably has like Israeli citizenship, probably. Okay, so then they're political commentator, America First, MAGA. First of all, you know that it's AstroTurf because how does this guy? What do you mean this guy has 1.4 million views? No one knows who the fuck he is. 1.4 million views. Nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. But okay, anyway, this clown has been cheering the censorship of pro-Palestine activists. This clown, I have seen him in people's comments cheering the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil. That's whose free speech is being attacked. And this is him. We have to defend free speech with everything we have. LOL. LOL. You are a fucking consummate clown. Absolute clown shoes. Your care about free speech is being tested right now. What you would do to defend free speech is what you're doing right now. Because it's very easy to theoretically support free speech when it's not under assault. Very easy. But when free speech is actually under assault, then we see what you're really made of. Then we see what you really believe. Free speech is under assault right now. So thankfully we have a test case. Because free speech is fucking under assault right now by the Israeli lobby. And yet we have this bitch defending it, defending the assault on free speech, defending Trump's crackdown on free speech, defending the arrest of Rumeysa, who got arrested outside of Tufts, who was a Tufts University student for writing a critical piece about the Israeli regime. And he has defended the abduction of Mahmoud Khalil. So get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, people need to stop letting them get away. It's pissing me off that people keep letting them get away with this. I am tired of these people being able to brand themselves as free speech warriors and building a platform off of that, because a lot of them built their platform off of claiming to be free speech warriors, okay? So I am so tired. Damn it. I can never fucking not break the yolk. You know what I mean? I'm making an egg. I can never not break the yolk. But you know what? I am so tired of these quote unquote free speech warriors never getting held accountable for being full of shit. People let them get away with it. These people build platforms off of pretending being pro First Amendment. They build platforms and make money off of pretending that they're free speech warriors and they fight for free speech. They fucking don't. I'm tired of these people getting away with it. Like, this guy should have been fucking ratioed. Okay? These people need to start being ratioed. People need to start going into their comments every fucking time they do this and be like, you're not for free speech. Every fucking time. Every fucking time people should go into their comments and be like, bitch, you're not for free speech. Okay? I'm tired of these hoes getting away with it. It's really fucking annoying. Anyway, where was I? All right, let's see if this works, or if it's edible. I think I have a cold because I've been taking COVID tests and they keep coming back negative, so it must just be a cold. It's just like so fucking embarrassing, okay? Yeah, I don't even like going on Blue Sky. There's so many blue MAGA libs on there. It's like annoying. Like, what a joke. Actual Lamau. I like it. Happy Monroe, you're one sick fuck day. No, I forgot I can't reply to it because Rave Dubin blocked me. He's such a little bitch. All these intellectual dark web hoes blocked me. They're all such pussies. Not bad. They're all such pussies, bro. He absolutely does look evil. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. He looks satanic. Like, don't get it twisted. Trump is evil, but I don't think Trump, if we're just talking aesthetics, I don't think Trump looks evil. He looks like a clown. But he doesn't look evil, even though he is. He absolutely is evil. But, so don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Trump absolutely is evil. But he doesn't look evil in the way that Netanyahu actually looks demonic, bro. Like, actually looks demonic. Oh my gosh, Dr. Phil is such a joke. Okay, so I was trying to figure out. Okay, so speaking of Netanyahu, did you guys hear that Tim Pool, who is allegedly a journalist, which of course he's not, he's a right-wing propagandist, but he pretends to be a journalist, had a sexy secret meeting with Netanyahu. Did you guys hear about that? It's so embarrassing. Okay. He was fighting with Kim Iverson over it because she called him out. Okay. So hold on. Let's watch this.
His reputation on transparency, anti-establishment journalism, and
he's so full of shit. He's so full of shit. It's so embarrassing. Oh, yeah. He's such a corrupt piece of shit. He blocked me a long time ago. They're all such cowards. Oh, yeah. Tim Pool is such a pathetic bootlicker. What gets me is that he pretends to like be like something like he's like a scrappy journalist, or like he tells it like it is. No, he's not. He's a little bootlicking bitch, okay? All right, let's watch this. I'll mute my mic while I'm eating while we watch this so you guys don't have to hear me chew.
Calling out the media elite, admitted that he sat in a private meeting.
That too, the media elite. They love to call out the media elite. And you'll notice that they never want to be specific. Just like Alex Jones. He's a fraud just like Alex Jones. Because you notice that whenever they want to call out the elite, it's always vague as fuck. Define the elite. Who? Who are we talking about? They purposely keep it vague because they want to profit off of pretending to be anti-establishment while actually working for the establishment. It's like how Alex Jones says he's taking on the elites while he does free advertising for the richest man in the world. Like, they're so full of shit. That's why they're vague.
With Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu under a little-known confidentiality agreement called the Chatham House Rule. Watch this.
Last night I wasn't here. I got late word that I was invited to a private roundtable meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was under what's called Chatham House rules. For those that are not familiar, this means that you cannot reveal anybody who attended, nor attribute anything to any one individual.
I didn't even get barely through it. I've got to pause to make fun of this. Okay. Excuse me. First of all, I can't stand the way he talks. Does anybody else not find it so grating the way he talks? And I was invited under something known as the Chatham House Rule. And the Chatham House Rule is like, he's so annoying. He's not charismatic. He's not fucking interesting. He's fucking annoying. And he talks with this like very irritating cadence as if he's funny, but there's no funny. No. I'm not even talking about like the sound of his voice. I'm talking about the cadence of his voice, the way that he speaks. Like, just listen.
They're not familiar. This means that you cannot reveal any. Last night I wasn't here. I got late word that I was invited to a private roundtable meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was under what's called Chatham House rules. For those that are not familiar, this means that you cannot reveal anybody who attended, nor attribute anything to any one individual, as they can deny it.
It's like so annoying the way he talks. And usually he only reads from like that one, what is it called? That one like, what is it called? It's like a outlet that does like a gossip. What is that gossip outlet in the UK? That's all he usually reads from. And he'll like read from this gossip outlet in the UK in the most annoying fucking tone. And he does it in a way where like he thinks he's delivering it in a way where he's about to drop some kind of sarcasm or joke that never comes because he has no charisma and no sense of humor. Okay.
And they would. However, what I love about what the White House is currently doing, when you bring together a bunch of influencers and podcasters who don't know much about journalism culture, whatever you want to call it, not that we respect it tremendously, most people didn't know what Chatham House meant. So with all due respect, it's funny because they bring us into the Blair House, which is where Netanyahu was staying. And immediately people are walking around with their cameras, their phones up. They actually took our phones from us. And I legit thought they would maintain Chatham House rules, meaning you can't quote the prime minister, you can't quote his officials and the other people who were there, but you can report what was said generally.
Why would you agree
if you wanted an official quote on a specific matter, you would then ask an official once the meeting was wrapped, and they provide you the exact quote.
Why would you agree not to repeat, if you're a journalist, what the fucking Prime Minister of Israel said? What are you, his fucking servant? What are you, his spokesperson? Fuck out of here.
Quote. Or they would just say outright, like, we haven't put our quotes on that one.
Okay, so this should alarm you because this wasn't just a conversation. It was a controlled environment curated by a foreign government with the explicit purpose of shaping how you, the audience, see the world. And the people who agreed to this meeting weren't diplomats. They weren't intelligence analysts. They weren't even traditional journalists. They were independent journalists and influencers, the people you trust because you believe they aren't controlled. And now they are. So what is the Chatham House rule? So let's pause and explain exactly what this rule is, because the devil is in the details and most people have never even heard of it.
Also, they're not journalists. I really think that we need to stop acting like just because somebody has a show means that they're a journalist or that they're independent. They're not independent. If you're an influencer getting paid to do propaganda on behalf of the Israeli regime, you are by definition not fucking independent.
So the Chatham House rule was created in 1927 by the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London, aka the Chatham House. It was designed to encourage open, honest dialogue during times of war or diplomacy or instability. So here's the official definition. When a meeting or part thereof is held under the Chatham House rule, participants are free to use the information received, but neither the identity nor the affiliation of the speakers nor that of any other participant may be revealed. So let's break that down into plain English. You can repeat what was said, but you can't say who said it or where they work or where they're from or that they were even in the room. So the idea was that people could speak honestly without getting fired or starting a war or causing a scandal. Now that makes sense for high stakes diplomacy, like two countries trying to stop a war without alarming their citizens. But here's the catch. This wasn't a peace summit. This was a foreign government talking to YouTubers behind closed doors. That's not diplomacy. That's message control. So here's the hard truth. The Chatham House rule was never meant to be used by journalists or commentators or anyone whose whole brand is, I tell you what the establishment won't. Because the second someone in media agrees to keep a source secret, not for safety, but for strategy, they stop being a watchdog and they become a guard dog. And that's exactly what happened here. Now, according to reporting from the Jewish Insider, which, by the way, Tim Pool called fake news while also admitting it was mostly accurate, this closed-door meeting happened at Blair House, which is the official guest house of the U.S. president, right across from the White House. So who was in the room? On the influencer side, you have Tim Pool, prominent YouTuber, Dave Rubin, also a prominent YouTuber, former press secretary Sean Spicer, editor-in-chief of The Federalist, Molly Hemingway, Bethany and Seth Mandel, who both write for the New York Post and Washington Examiner, mommy blogger Jessica Krause, and host of Newsmax, David J. Harris Jr. And on the Israeli side, you have Netanyahu himself, his top diplomatic advisor, and the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. No cameras, no transcripts, just a government, a message, and a room full of people who control what millions of Americans see online.
This is insane, honestly. It's actually like worse than people are making it. Because again, yeah, it is true. These people, first of all, I really need people to stop allowing these people to call themselves independent media. Like, again, just because you're not on CNN doesn't make you independent media. These hoes are going behind closed doors with a fucking prime minister and agreeing not to say what he said. Who is this for? Who is this for? It's to do propaganda on behalf of the Israeli regime to your viewers. They were there to get messaging advice so that they could do propaganda on behalf of the Israeli regime to their viewers. And you want to call them independent media? They want to call themselves independent media. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. They should have never agreed to that. If you had any credibility, whether you're a journalist or not, let's just say you're an influencer, right? Like the mommy blogger or whatever, you know? And you're just saying you're an influencer. How embarrassing that you would go and agree to meet with a foreign leader and not talk about what was said. How are you going and having a fucking meeting with a foreign leader and agreeing not to talk about what was said? What kind of creep shit is that? Yes, Tim Pool is bald. Correct. That's why he wears that stupid fucking beanie. Like it's 2002.
So what was the topic? Well, the goal was to... So who was in the room? On the influencer side, you have Tim Pool, prominent YouTuber, Dave Rubin, also a prominent YouTuber, former press secretary Sean Spicer, editor-in-chief of The Federalist, Molly Hemingway, Bethany and Seth Mann.
I also think that first of all, the people that are the quote unquote journalists, like Molly Hemingway and the losers that work for the New York Post, if we lived in a sane society that actually did have any kind of dignity or real free press, they'd be fired. They'd be fired. You should not be allowed as a media personality or a journalist to have sexy, off the record, fucking private communications with a foreign government and get away with it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're not watchdogs. They are guard dogs. And it's disgusting because losers like Tim Pool and Rave Dubin make a lot of their money off of convincing their audience that they are telling you things that the establishment won't, that they're different. They're not like Fox News. They're not like CNN. They're not like MSNBC. They talk about things that other people don't. Bitch, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
Andel, who both write for the New York Post and Washington Examiner, mommy blogger Jessica Krause, and host of Newsmax, David J. Harris Jr. And on the Israeli side, you have Netanyahu himself, his top diplomatic advisor, and the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. No cameras, no transcripts, just a government, a message, and a room full of people who control what millions of Americans see online. So what was the topic? Well, the goal was to address the growing anti-Israel backlash in right-wing media, especially among pro-Trump populist and Gen Z influencers who are watching footage from Gaza and beginning to question everything. So according to multiple...
Imagine being such a cock, such a fucking loser, okay? That you're willing to go online and lie to your fucking audience that trusts you on behalf of a foreign government because you want to do PR for them. That there is a backlash to people seeing the genocide in Gaza, which is heartening that even some people on the right apparently do have a fucking conscience, and seeing dead children every day starts to get to a person that has a soul. And so these people that have built up an audience on the right, trying to convince people that they're real and that you can get the truth from them and you can trust them and yada, 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 are going to use that clout and that trust so that they can lie and do PR on behalf of a genocidal regime committing mass slaughter of children and civilians and disabled people and everyone that lives in Gaza. What a contemptible scum.
Multiple attendees, including Tim, he raised the possibility that Qatar might be manipulating social media algorithms to push anti-Semitic or anti-Israel content. Let's watch what he says about that.
Every accusation is a confession. Every accusation is a confession. Also, even if other people were pushing anti-Israel content, that's allowed. Why are you trying to force us to like this regime? Is this a requirement of being an American citizen that you have to support the genocidal Israeli regime? That's part of being an American citizen? You fucking kidding me? That's what they want.
I said there has been a report released from pro-Israel sources alleging Qatar is funding bots and operations to promote anti-Israel content. Is there any evidence that's true? And he said, I don't know. It's possible. That's what happened. I did not say they actually were doing that because I don't know that they're actually doing it. However, I did to a variety of people express what I've expressed on this show, that there are clearly bots that are anti-Israel and anti-Semitic. That is not to say that people who are critical of Israel don't exist or that no one is critical of Israel. People certainly are.
Okay, so in other words, maybe the outrage isn't real. Maybe it's bots. And Netanyahu's answer was, it's possible, which was just enough to plant the seed in all of these influencers to get the word out there. So think about what just happened. A foreign leader met with a group of influential American voices. They agreed not to say who said what. They left that meeting and started repeating the key ideas without telling their audiences where those ideas came from. That's not independent media. That's PR. That's narrative laundering. It's taking talking points from the top of a foreign power structure and repackaging them as grassroots, authentic thought. This story matters because it strikes at the core of what people believe about alternative media. These guys are rebels. They don't take orders. They don't play the DC game. They're not CNN in a hoodie. But guess what? The moment power invited them in, they showed up. They sat down. They listened.
Yeah, but literally, though, this is true. This is true. So you're doing fucking PR for this foreign regime committing genocide as you pretend in your stupid ass beanie that you're telling the real truth. You're telling them things that Tapper Jake won't. You are Tapper Jake. It's just that Tapper Jake has hair.
They took notes, and a foreign leader met with a group of influential American voices. They agreed not to say who said what. They left that meeting and started repeating the key ideas without telling their audiences where those ideas came from. That's not independent media. That's PR. That's narrative laundering. It's taking talking points from the top of a foreign power structure and repackaging them as grassroots, authentic thought. This story matters because it strikes at the core of what people believe about alternative media. These guys are rebels. They don't take orders. They don't play the DC game. They're not CNN in a hoodie. But guess what? The moment power invited them in, they showed up. They sat down. They listened. They took notes. And now they're feeding you the exact messages the government wanted them to deliver without telling you where those messages came from. So let me ask you, if Anderson Cooper did this, would you trust him? Then why would you trust Tim Pool? Now, here's a story I've never told until now. This all reminded me of something that happened to me personally back in March of 2020 when I was invited onto Tim Pool's podcast. Before we went live, myself and some of his staff were just hanging out in the kitchen, just talking, and I casually mentioned that I had just returned from a trip to the West Bank. Not even a political statement, just a fact. And immediately, like snapping fingers, his 3 staffers all jumped in. We're pro-Israel. Yep, very, very pro-Israel. Not, oh, really? What did you see? Oh, that's interesting. Tell us more. Just a shutdown. And I remember thinking, that's really odd. Now, that was really fast. That was robotic. That seemed rehearsed. It didn't feel like a personal opinion. The response felt automatic and pre-programmed. Now, I didn't understand it at the time. But after watching this Netanyahu meeting unfold, after seeing how over the past few months, Tim himself has defended Israel in nonsensical ways, now I get it. That moment wasn't an opinion. It was a line. Now, we used to be afraid of censorship, and we still should be. But the bigger threat today isn't silencing speech. It's manipulating it. Not banning content, but pushing certain voices to the top. Not jailing dissidents, but inviting them to dinner. Not attacking critics, but infiltrating the platforms you trust the most. This isn't conspiracy. This is strategy, and you're watching it in real time. So the next time someone says, I'm just asking questions, ask yourself this. Who did they meet with last week? What were the rules? What didn't they tell you? Because the biggest threat to free speech isn't just the government. It's when influencers become informal agents of power and still pretend they're not. Now, you might say, well, Tim admitted it. Yeah, sure. After the Jewish Insider outed him. Now, if everybody on the named list, only Tim and David Harris Jr. have acknowledged the meeting. The rest haven't. And even if they do, is it a limited hangout? Just enough to make you trust, but not give the full story? So the next time someone tells you they're fighting the establishment, but they're sitting in rooms with foreign leaders under secret rules, they're not rebels, they're not journalists, they're not even independent. They're part of the machine, just wearing different clothes. And if they can't be honest with you about that, then why trust them to be honest with you about anything? Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you could catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, by going to KimIversonShow.com. You'll catch it live.
What's so crazy is that, it's crazy that people, it's clear that he is a hack, right? But a lot of people still fall for it. It's amazing. It's amazing. This should be a massive scandal, and he should lose. I mean, honestly, I don't understand why he had credibility with anybody in the first place, because he's to me, it has always been obvious what a fraud he is. It has always been obvious to me what a fraud he is. But for those people who still, for some reason, give him the benefit of the doubt and think that he's credible, this should destroy any of that credibility. Seriously. Like, this bitch is working on behalf of a fucking foreign government, doing their fucking PR and fucking talking points. Like, get the fuck out of here. And he wants you to trust him to deliver quote unquote independent media. Please. This is why it makes so much sense. To me, like, it's not really that surprising to me, because do you guys remember this happened? And it became super clear what a shill he was for the Israeli regime back when Emma Vigeland was on his show and he was doing his little anti-war shtick. I'm further to the left than you are on foreign policy. I'm anti-war. I'm anti-war. And then she's like, what about Israel? And he's like, squirrel. Like, it was so clear. He did not, like, it all fell apart. It all fell apart the second that somebody brought up the Israeli regime. And that happened again. It happened again recently on another show, and I don't remember who was on it.
It means as much to me as Burma and Saudi Arabia does.
The money that Israel gets is directly in weapons, so that money actually goes to U.S. weapons manufacturers, and so that money does go into the U.S. economy. So I understand people making the argument, well, it helps the economy. I mean,
no, this is crazy. I mean, just even outside of the whole issue of Israel, take a look at how much money the U.S. is giving to everyone.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Dan got 100 million, 600 leaders.
He's always wanting to, whenever somebody brings up Israel, he wants to change the subject.
Got late word that I was invited to a private roundtable meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin.
I want also, like, we need to normalize it not being normal to be an Israeli shill. We need to normalize that. Because if this were Russia, people would have lost their fucking minds. They would have lost their fucking minds. We need to normalize it not being okay to be a fucking shill for the Israeli regime, okay? Absolutely. He's such a fucking clown. Assad said Tim Pool is an Israel dick rider. Yeah, true.
Syndrome.
Okay, well, but Trump,
yeah,
and for sure, but Israel is intentionally dragging us into this war, and also Israel has.
I think you got Israel derangement syndrome.
Okay, well, but
I call it Israel-Palestine derangement.
Okay, then let me. Well, so first of all, Israel. This is on two separate. Do you know the story of Israel wiretapping the White House and blackmailing Bill Clinton?
No.
Okay, well, this is you can see this in the New York Post. There's been two independently written books on this.
Yeah, but do you know the story about the NSA wiretapping Angela Merkel?
No, okay, sure. I'm just saying.
Look.
No, I'm giving you examples.
I really wish somebody who was good at editing, because some people are really, really good at it, of like clipping a lot of things, like making montages, would make a montage of every time somebody brings up Israel and Tim Pool dodges it, like changes the subject. This happens. I really do. Is there like a set database where you can find clips of everyone? Like of somebody saying something over and over again? I wish there was. Maybe there is a database where you can like search like a key term and then find clips of the person talking about that term. Because think about it. Like, it's somebody should actually make a montage of Tim Pool every single time somebody brings up Israel. He changes the subject. Isn't it interesting that Tim Pool, who loves conspiracy theories, right? He loves drama and conspiracy theories and dirt and wiretapping and all that kind of stuff. But when this guy goes, did you ever hear about Israel wiretapping Bill Clinton in one of the most major scandals having to do with Monica Lewinsky that ever happened in American politics? And you'll notice he is not interested anymore. He's not interested in hearing the story. Tim Pool loves to talk about drag shows, okay? Loves to talk about drag shows. Can't stop talking about drag queens and trans kids. Can't stop talking about that. But then when it comes to actually talking about something like, hey, have you ever heard the story about what Israel did to Bill Clinton? All of a sudden, he's not interested anymore. Not interested in the story, not interested in finding out more. Weird. And weird how he always changes the subject whenever somebody brings up the Israeli regime. It's just so weird.
If Israel doesn't treat us like an ally, Israel ropes us into these things because they know we're going to back
Germany
them up.
like an ally, which is the point.
No, I know, but
welcome to international espionage and warfare.
But if you're America first, why would you want to get exploited into this war in the Middle East that you care so little about?
Why are you trying to make me single on Israel when all of these other countries are doing equally or worse things?
Ethiopia, Afghanistan, Yemen.
Because it's not
Egypt,
the money. Hamas doesn't have a lobbying wing in DC.
Yes, it does.
That captures all your politicians. And
I don't want to say her name.
No, but
absolutely fucking deranged. Yeah, Hamas doesn't have a lobbying wing in DC. And he's like, but don't they though? Like, these people are such losers. It is so clear what shills they are.
Hamas does not.
Oh my gosh, absolute fucking shills. It's amazing.
Article about any number of conspiracies as to what resulted in this going down. And so what we do know is Hamas wants to kill Israelis. Many in Hamas just, I want to kill all Jews anywhere. They're chanting, even in the United States, from the river to the sea. They broke in, they killed a bunch of...
Oh my gosh, he's still crying about the from the river to the sea. This is a joke. This is a joke. Everything he's saying is literally straight out of the Hasbara playbook. Everything he's saying is straight out of the Hasbara playbook. He is literally just repeating Zionist talking points. That's it. Just repeating Zionist talking points. Like everything.
Civilian citizens, old people captured, tourists were killed, children were killed. And then I don't understand why there is this circuitous argument made for Netanyahu standing down, even from Charlie Kirk. It's speculative. It has no direct evidence. It has a report from the peoplesvoice.tv, but let's be fair and say any report anywhere that relies on I spoke with someone who says it happened.
Well, this lady...
Really? Because that's what you say about everything. Isn't it amazing how now all of a sudden he's got rigorous standards for evidence? Isn't that amazing? Suddenly, Tim Pool has rigorous standards for evidence. Bro, you literally use like the UK Sun as a source constantly. I'm pretty sure that's the one he uses. Does anybody know what it is? Thank you, Majman. Yes, we are. Does anybody know what the source is that he always is using? It's like either the UK Sun or some other like gossip column. But now all of a sudden, when it comes to anything said about the Israeli regime, you know, he's a source hound, okay? He needs the serious sources, folks.
Named Efrat Finigson. She's a journalist in Israel. She writes for Bereshit News. She said that Israel citizens in Israeli towns near Gaza Strip begging for help from Israeli police or army, and they're not there. 6 hours after this nightmare started, what happened to the strongest army in the world? How come border crossings are wide open? Something is very wrong here.
They got caught off guard.
Well, she's sick. The military
I answered it. I gave you Occam's razor.
But the military was told to stand down.
That's
why
not
they were
proven.
caught off guard.
That's what you want to believe to be true.
I don't want to believe it.
Then why are you citing? Why are you citing a single person who said I talked to a person? My point is,
an article.
I think it's so amazing how quick he is to defend them. Again, this is somebody who loves like to get into the nitty-gritty of conspiracy theories. He loves that shit. He, for years, wanted to get into the conspiratorial aspects of January 6th. Remember? He wanted to get into every aspect of it. He wanted to get into the nitty gritty of could it be this? Could it be that? What happened to Nancy Pelosi? What about Ray Epps? Where are the cameras? La la la, da da da. But then when it comes to this, and a guy is reading from an article in an Israeli paper asking very, very good questions that we still do not have answers to, such as, why was the border open? And why did it take them hours to get help when Israel's kind of small? Why? Where were they? What caused this? How are they able to pull this off in the first place? None of those questions have been answered. And isn't it amazing that he has no interest in learning that? Again, the guy who loves to jump into every aspect of any kind of conspiracy that happens, that couldn't shut the fuck up about all the different possibilities happening with January 6th, is suddenly very comfortable and fine with the official narrative about October 7th. He's fine with it. No further questions. No further questions. He takes the official line of the IOF, the official line of the Israeli government, despite the fact that it hasn't been investigated. It has not been investigated. They have not looked into the reason why it happened or how they got away with it or why it took them so long to get to the people. But he's fine with it. No further questions. And if you guys notice, he's so defensive. Like when anybody's like, hey, why are we asking these questions about the Israeli regime? He's like, leave him alone. Occam's razor. Because they were caught off guard. Wouldn't you be caught off guard? Wouldn't you? You know what really chaps my ass about this? These people have absolutely no problem ripping our country apart on the basis. Daily Mail, thank you. Oh, it might have been the Mirror. Either the Daily Mail or the Daily Mirror. It's some British tabloid that he uses as a source constantly. It's amazing. But now all of a sudden he's a source hound. How can anybody not see what an insane fraud Tim Pool is? He's literally a fucking lapdog of the fucking Israeli regime. And this is what really, like I said, gets on my fucking nerves about this whole thing too, is that they have no problem ripping our own country apart based on political affiliation. But when it comes to defending this foreign government, they are obsequious. They are quick to shut down any dissent. And they are desperate to run cover for any and all atrocities of this government and smear people who even have the nerve to question the government, the Israeli government. But when it comes to our own country, they have absolutely no problem smearing the shit out of their fellow citizens because they don't agree with them politically. I just want people to think about that, okay? I just want people to think about that. Now, these are the people that have no problem ripping our own country apart with their partisan bullshit, their Democrat and Republican partisan bullshit. And that when it comes to Democrats, they hate liberals and Democrats so much, even though they're their fellow citizens, that they have no problem making money off of ripping the country apart by constantly ripping on liberals and Democrats, Americans. But God forbid, you criticize the Israeli regime. Then he's coming out, bro. Then he's coming out. Oh my gosh, fucking embarrassing. What a little fucking
I don't think an article from a person I've never heard of is evidence enough for me to believe a circuitous conspiracy about the government choosing to stand down to allow their own citizens to be massacred.
Was circuitous the word of the day? Because he said it like 3 times now. I'm not reading an article by a circuitous. Did you just look that up, bro? Was that on your app of words of the day? But also, again, isn't it interesting that he has no interest in looking into it? That's what I find so amazing. He has no interest in checking. Well, why don't you read the article, bro? Why don't you look into it? look into it, read the article, look at what it says. No interest. He doesn't have any interest in that. He does not have any interest in that. He does not have any interest in looking further into the story. It's quite something.
To justify war for some reason.
Well, Times of Israel reported that a top U.S. lawmaker affirmed Cairo warned Israel days before the onslaught. I mean, there's just a handful
and the quote
of warnings.
is something big.
Right.
And what does that mean?
I'm just saying that this handful of warnings paired with a 7-hour halt, it just is, it's odd. And
7-hour halt is not proven. And a big warning is vague. What you are doing is you are choosing to interpret two vague things to your narrative.
Well, when a person inside Israel with connections to...
It's just incredible. He doesn't even want to discuss it. Again, I just want people to have this sink in. Like, what a fucking hack this guy is. That this guy has never met a conspiracy that he did not want to dive into. But then when it comes to October 7th, he's not only not interested in finding out more information, he's not only not interested in learning what it is that could have possibly actually happened on October 7th. He's chastising this guy for questioning it. He is chastising this guy for even asking. What happened to all the asking questions, folks? I thought you guys loved asking questions. What happened? We're just asking questions, guys. Well, where are you? Why aren't you interested in asking questions? Why are you shutting this guy down for asking questions? Huh?
The government says something.
Who?
Well, I'll pull it up for you. It's in this article. The guy I just named, his name is Cecily Routman. It's interviewed by Lauren Witzke. He is
Who is he?
Pro-life foundation leader, works with the government.
What does that mean, works with the government?
I mean, he's a pro-life foundation leader, so he works with legislators, I assume, to...
So he's not a government. So he's not actually in government.
Works with the government.
So he's just a guy who. So like I work with the government because I've done a show with Matt Gaetz.
Okay, so I just don't know why he would say the IDF.
We work with local government all the time on all our business endeavors. We're not in the government. We have no privy knowledge. So
it's just amazing how insanely defensive he is on their behalf. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, isn't it incredible how defensive he is? Like, what are you, their lawyer? It's like he's like the official lawyer. But don't worry, guys. He's a real independent voice, and you can believe it because he has a firearm and a guitar on the back of his wall behind him and a sword. So you know that he's legit and he's independent. You can trust it. Because he's got, those things to let you know his cred.
So then the question becomes this. Let's assume that the 7-hour stand down was true. Now the question is, for what reason was it there? You once again are making the leap that it was an intentional act to allow the civilians to be killed with no evidence.
I'm making the common sense conclusion that Netanyahu, with one of the most formidable intelligence agencies in the world, there's no chance that he stood by and let that. There's no way they just missed it. There's no way.
That's amazing faith in the power of the intelligence community.
The Mossad is revered for their reach and for their knowledge.
It doesn't matter. You can have whatever opinion you want on Mossad, but none of this is evidence. Well, it's just speculation. And don't choose to use the people's voice to be in the absence of evidence. The solution it doesn't matter. You can have whatever opinion you want on Mossad.
He's so embarrassed. He's like, that's a lot of faith to have in the intelligence agency. Aren't they the ones always aren't they the ones that are always like bragging about their intelligence capabilities?
Mossad, but none of this is evidence. Well, it's just speculation. And so I take Occam's razor's approach.
Okay.
And that is the simple solution tends to be, in the absence of evidence, the solution that makes the least amount of assumptions tends to be correct. Mm-hmm. That may not be absolute, but I would argue there's a tendency towards
Occam's razor doesn't make sense here because Occam's razor is the simplest explanation is probably the correct one. It doesn't actually make any sense that it took them so long to get to the people. It doesn't make any sense that in the highly surveilled Israeli regime where they have intelligence and spying capabilities on everyone and everything, that they didn't know that this was coming. and didn't prep for it. And we know that they do know that it was coming because it was leaked over a year ago in the New York Times that there were intelligence officials high up in the Israeli government that warned them that this was coming.
You will more likely be correct if you go down that path. All the leaps you've made are meaningless to me because there's not evidence. I have an idea that seems to make sense. Well, it might make sense, but it doesn't mean it's true.
Well, we don't have the facts yet. And folks that are supposed to be the pioneers of finding the facts are saying, oh, well, we don't need to find the facts because obviously there's this group here who killed a bunch of people. So they're obviously the ones in the wrong. I think that several people could be complicit here. In the same rage that you share for Hamas that I share with you, I share for the leaders who allowed it to happen.
Well, you can argue they allowed it to happen and that they failed, but that's about it.
They failed and they were complicit is what my argument is. And I don't think that
without evidence,
those people, well, no, it's not without evidence.
You don't have any evidence they were complicit. That's just an absurdity.
I don't have any evidence that they weren't complicit.
This is okay. We're gonna go to members only, but I'm gonna say this. This is why I absolutely hate this subject, bro. You are wildly speculating without proof.
She's laughing as if he's making a good point. He's not making a good point. She's just a Zionist idiot.
Of anything, and you are adamant you are correct when you are not. Okay, there is no proof Netanyahu stood down intentionally to allow his citizens to be killed for political benefit.
He's not saying that there's proof. He's saying it should be looked into. He didn't say that there was proof. He said that it was obvious and that there should be an investigation into it. Bro.
I don't think someone as poised as Charlie Kirk in the political world would
he's
just
wrong
write
too.
a tweet and say, "Hey, I'm speculating that Charlie or that
he's wrong."
I don't think he is.
Well,
I don't think he is, and I don't think
that's fine.
I don't think
Charlie Kirk is also a Zionist shill that works on behalf of the Israeli regime. Just FYI.
Think what you want, but you have
I
no
don't
proof.
think the immediate lashing that he faced for saying that also makes it look like he was wrong. But
you're allowed to think what you want, but my point is you don't have proof.
My proof is that warnings were given days ahead. Mossad is the strongest intelligence agency in the world. I think there's a lot of things that
did you know? I'll tell you what the warnings were. The warnings were that a large pizza party was going to be had. You know how I know that? I made it up like you did.
I think
you don't know.
Oh my gosh, what a tool. Tim Tool. What a tool.
That warning was. You've chosen
a little douchebag in the background. Oh, that's why she's there. She's a paid laugh track.
You've chosen a narrative path without proof. I don't do that.
It's not true. There's been multiple.
You've chosen. Look at how he gets all indignant when this bitch always spreads conspiracy theories with no proof. Are you kidding me? Tim Pool loves spreading conspiracy theories with no proof. And now he's all indignant. I don't talk about conspiracy theories with no proof. Except you did. This is the same clown that was going on about Social Security and literally didn't know the first thing about what he was talking about, but confidently talked about. Like, he was literally a professionally wrong person talking about Social Security and had no fucking idea what he was talking about and didn't even bother reading the rest of the article on it. I don't do that. How the hell are you that indignant when you literally do? How are you that indignant when that is what you fucking do? What a fucking joke. Look at this. Look at this little bitch.
You know how I know that? I made it up like you did.
I think
you don't know what that warning was. You've chosen a narrative.
Doesn't it feel like a dad yelling at his son? Because again, he's so angry, like on the Israeli regime's behalf. Right, because Tim Pool, very known for being a stickler on the facts. Again, this is a guy that lies about Social Security, lied about January 6th, creates conspiracy theories about COVID and about like anything, trans people, lied about drag queen story hour. This guy will create conspiracy theories about anything. But all of a sudden now, he is a stickler of the facts, ma'am. And he's not going to sit here and let his son engage in this riffraff without fact-checking it first. Okay? That's what it feels like. It feels like he's like scolding his son.
I'll tell you what the warnings were. The warnings were that a large pizza party was going to be had. You don't know what that warning was. You've chosen chosen a narrative path without proof. I don't do that.
It's not true. There's been multiple
All indignant. it. Except for you do that, bitch. You do it all the time. I'm pretty sure that he also wasn't he the one that also spread a bunch of conspiracy theories that were unproven about UFOs? He loves talking about UFOs. That's not proven. But no, he's a stickler for the facts now.
Reports and many outlets have reported on this.
You know what the warnings are?
The warnings of
the
what?
warning. We know that a warning was given, quote, something big. We don't know what they were told. If Israel was told, hey, something big's coming from Lebanon, Hezbollah is going to make a move, that's not evidence of a Hamas attack. And we don't know the degree to which Israel was warned and how it means anything. If you're going to take action without a complete picture, you will end up causing harm, causing damage, and then regretting your actions.
I don't want to cause damage to anybody. And the whole time this conflict is going on, I've been saying I want nothing but peace. I want people to stop killing each other. I want civilians and kids' lifeless bodies to stop being carried in the streets of Gaza and Israel.
And that's fair.
And so
Such both sides garbage bullshit in the streets of Gaza and Israel. It's not happening in Israel. It's happening in Gaza.
If you claim that Netanyahu did it intentionally without proof, you are actually exacerbating the problem.
Netanyahu
was escalating the conflict.
Netanyahu's been under corruption investigation for years now. So
it has nothing to do with what's going on.
It does, though. When you have someone who has a track record of being corrupt, I wouldn't put it past him to stand idly by while their country.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about this is that this kid's trying to like both sides it, and you can see that he's losing his confidence, which he shouldn't be. You can see that even though what he is saying is much more accurate and he's right to question it, because Tim Pool has like this dad vibe where he's scolding him and he's so like passionate about defending the Israeli regime. He's so like passionate and sure of himself in his defense of their propaganda that you can see the kid kind of backing off and like becoming unsure of himself. It's amazing. Literally, though, he's a stickler for reading a headline and then exactly. But now all of a sudden, he's scolding this guy because he feels like, now all of a sudden he's scolding this guy because he feels like that this guy has just not been as committed to the facts as he should be. Which brings me back to the article that we have not finished yet, and we will finish here, which was the one about Mahmoud Khalil. We ended with the part where he said, rather, Rubio wrote that Khalil could be expelled for his beliefs. He said, while Khalil's activities were otherwise lawful, letting him remain in the country would undermine U.S. policy to combat anti-Semitism around the world and in the United States, LOL. And in addition to efforts to protect Jewish students from harassment and violence in the United States, which again, totally made up. He wasn't harassing anybody. Condoning anti-Semitic conduct and disruptive protests in the United States would severely undermine the significant foreign policy objective, Rubio wrote in the undated memo. Okay, so once again, this is totally made up. Nobody was doing anything anti-Semitic, and Mahmoud Khalil was not doing anything anti-Semitic. But thank you, Marco Rubio, for admitting that they were working, because he's saying it's undermining the foreign policy objective, which is to aid and abet the Israeli regime in their genocide. The foreign policy objective is to aid and abet the Israeli regime in their genocide, and Marco Rubio is admitting that the protests were undermining that. So thank you for admitting that. The submission was filed on Wednesday after Judge Jamie Comans ordered a government to produce the evidence against Khalil ahead of a hearing on Friday, whether it can continue detaining him during the immigration proceedings. Attorneys for Khalil said that the memo proved the Trump administration was targeting Mahmoud's free speech rights about Palestine. After a month of hiding the ball since Mahmoud's late-night unjust arrest in New York and taking him away to a remote detention center in Louisiana, the immigration authorities have finally admitted that they have no case whatsoever against him. The attorneys Mark Vanderhout and Johnny Sinodis said in a statement, there is not a single shred of proof that Mahmoud's presence in America poses any threat, they added. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson, Tricia McLaughlin, did not respond for questions as to whether it had additional evidence against Khalil, writing in an emailed statement that DSH did file evidence, but immigration court dockets are not available to the public. Bullshit. Khalil, a 30-year-old Palestinian by ethnicity who was born in Syria, was arrested March 8th in New York and taken to a detention center in Louisiana. He recently finished his coursework for his master's degree at Columbia School of International Affairs. His wife, who is an American citizen, is due to give birth this month. Khalil has adamantly rejected allegations of anti-Semitism, accusing the Trump administration in a letter sent from jail last month of targeting me as a part of a broader strategy to suppress dissent. Correct. Knowing fully that this moment transcends my individual circumstances, he said, I hope that nonetheless to be free to witness the birth of my firstborn child. I know, it's so fucking insane that they still have not let him out. Though Rubio's memo references additional documents, including the subject profile of Mahmoud Khalil Lamal and a letter from the Department of Homeland Security, the government did not submit those documents to the immigration court, according to Khalil's lawyers. Of course they didn't, because there's nothing in them. They're just lying. The memo also, that's why they could only send a memo. The memo also calls for the deportation of a second lawful permanent resident whose name is redacted in the filing. Trump administration has pulled billions of dollars in government funding from universities and their affiliated hospital systems in recent weeks as a part of what it says is a campaign against anti-Semitism on college campuses. Get the fuck out of here. But which critics say is a crackdown on free speech. It is. It is. To get the money back, the administration has been telling universities to punish protesters and make other changes, which the universities, by the way, have completely capitulated to and are doing. So fuck these universities, and everybody should be boycotting them. If you're about to go to college, don't go to one of these fucking universities. If you've got a kid that's about to go into college, don't send them to one of these universities. Fuck these universities. These universities are garbage, and they're selling out their students on behalf of cash and funding and the Israeli regime and weapons manufacturers. So fuck them. Don't send your kid there. The U.S. government has also been revoking the visas of international students who criticize Israel or accused of mistreating Palestinians. At the time of Khalil's arrest, a Department of Homeland Security spokesperson accused Khalil of leading activities aligned to Hamas, referring to the militant group that attacked Israel on October 7, 2023. But the government has not produced any evidence linking Khalil to Hamas and made no reference to the group in their most recent filing. Of course, because it's made up. Free Mahmoud Khalil. Free Mahmoud Khalil. Guys, free Mahmoud Khalil. He needs to be freed. This is ridiculous. And you know what? Even if you weren't somebody that actually cared about him or about the dignity of Palestinians, you should care about this, because you are a fool if you don't think that them setting this precedent will not come for what you care about and your free speech rights. That's why conservatives who are not standing up for him are so stupid, because it's like, weren't you guys the ones that were just screeching about free speech and cancel culture and censorship around COVID? You know, you wanted your right to be transphobic. You wanted your rights back to use the R word on Twitter. Wasn't that you guys? And now you don't care that the government is cracking down on somebody because they criticized a foreign regime? You don't care that the government is cracking down on somebody for exercising their free speech against a genocide? Yeah. Embarrassing. No fucking principles. Not only no fucking principles, but you're also dumb if you think that this is not going to come back for you. Totally insane. All right, well, we're going to move over to Rumble now. Rumble is where we do the last hour of the show or the stream. And you can send super chats to support my work on Rumble. If you're not already following me on Rumble, like you should be. And that's where we do the last hour of the show. And if you want to support my work, you can send me super chats to Rumble. You can also send me Venmos or Cash App to support my work so that I can continue to do this. And you can also become a member on Ko-fi or Patreon to support me monthly. So I'm going to take a little 5-minute break just to set up the Rumble stream, and I will see you guys over there. Free Palestine, free Mahmoud Khalil, fuck Tim Pool, fuck Alex Jones, down with the frauds. Down with the frauds. Stop following people and empowering people that are fucking frauds. And free Palestine, of course. All right. See you in a minute, guys.